Welcome to Uncle Larry's Truly Massive Rant, a combined movie review / editorial corner. Before he gets into it, Uncle Larry wants to recommend that you pop a tape into the VCR because your good old Uncle Larry is about to demonstrate the strength of deductive reasoning, a process which, if the facts that you put into it are true, guarantees that the outcome will also be true. Plus, you can use this tape later to humiliate both your friends and your enemies, so get that in there. Now, to maintain the rigor of his arguments, Uncle Larry is actually using notes, 3 pages worth, boys and girls. That's how serious he is about this. Okay, you got it running? Here goes. The movie in question tonight is The Matrix, currently the most successful movie of the year. Now, pay attention because here comes that whole logical deductive reasoning part. Uncle Larry's major premise is that the basic concept of the Matrix is not only a farrago of absolute nonsense, but that it is so aggressively stupid that it's actually insulting. No one with more than an 8th grade education can help but resent the implication that they're ignorant enough to swallow this colossal load of bullshit. Uncle Larry's minor premise is that the movie has made over $140 million and counting, making it the most popular movie of 1999 so far. Uncle Larry's conclusion from these premises is that the people of this country are total fucking idiots. What this means is that Uncle Larry feels that this movie is so blatantly, scientifically inaccurate and unbelievable that it cannot fail to be grossly insulting to anyone with half a brain. So if you liked this movie, you're a fucking moron. Sorry, boys and girls, but that's the cold, hard facts. Now, before you start whining, golly, Uncle Larry, isn't that a little harsh? Uncle Larry wants to point out that he's not pissed off at the people who made this movie. After all, H.L. Mencken said, "No one ever went broke underestimating the intelligence of the American public." And, the filmmakers are just trying to make a buck. And it's not nearly as morally repugnant as Contact. And it isn't being marketed as anything but entertainment. What gets Uncle Larry's goat is the stupidity of the audience, who don't seem to realize that this movie is a giant fuck you to anyone with more than a junior high school education. And what really grinds your Uncle Larry's nads is that not one single reviewer or critic has brought up any of the points your good old Uncle Larry is about to make. Not one. Once again, your Uncle Larry is just a lonely voice crying out in the wilderness. And this is the critics Uncle Larry is talking about. These people who are supposed to know better have their heads stuck so far up their asses that they can sniff their own tonsils. Most reviewers went on record as actually liking the movie, although some did say it was complicated and challenging, which could possibly be true if you're a preschooler. Now, Uncle Larry wants to digress for a moment to explain what he means by pandering to pseudo-intellectuals. Pandering to pseudo-intellectuals works because people who are not too bright invariably like to believe that they're smarter than they actually are. The Straubs even wrote a song about it called Heavy Disguise, which contains the lyrics, "Fools must pretend to be wise we've a faith that we use as a heavy disguise, which pretty much hits the nail on the head there. In fact, Uncle Larry believes that many of the major problems facing the world today are caused by idiots who think that they know what's best for everyone else. And these are the same kind of idiots who think that the Matrix is deep. Now, Uncle Larry wants to give you a little analogy here to help you understand what he means by this whole pandering to pseudo-intellectuals thing. Boys and girls, picture a public swimming pool. You know, a big body of water that goes from the shallow end down to the deep end. And along the side of the pool, they've got written the depths, like 3.5 feet there in the baby end, and then, 5 feet, 8 feet, 12 feet down the diving end, so that, the parents can keep track of their little kids in the pool to tell if they're out of their depth. Now, what pandering to pseudo-intellectuals does is it's the equivalent of taking some black paint and a brush and going there into the shallow end and taking the 3 and making it into an 8. All right, you haven't changed the depth of the pool. You've just labeled it as being deeper than it actually is. Okay, and how this works is that the people in the baby end look over there at that sign that says 8.5, and they go, "Wow, 8.5 feet. Hey, I'm swimming with the adults." Even though it's painfully obvious to an outside observer, and should be to them, that they're standing in water that's only coming up to their waists, they still persist in thinking that they're swimming in the deep end. Now, your good old Uncle Larry has nothing but contempt for these self-deluded people, boys and girls, because he does not suffer fools gladly. Obviously. So what exactly is wrong with the premise of the Matrix? Uncle Larry wishes that he didn't have to explain it, but he's sadly afraid that he does. Because who cares about that science stuff nowadays? Who? Certainly not the creators or the audience for this abomination masquerading as entertainment. The point is, you should care, boys and girls, because, if you don't know what the rules are, you're only going to get screwed over by the powers that be, because they do, and they know how to play the game.